Hey, welcome everyone. This is Scott here at Access Agile. I am getting Jo up to speed for everything she missed in the organization that we put together last year. When I first got the trustees together, there was two real things that we pushed into the mix. One was design thinking, and one was the Wardley Doctrine. So this comes from Simon Wardley. Dave Snowden was great to recommend that Simon Wardley becomes a patron, he's much loved in the Agile community. Martin
Yeah.
loved him as well. There's still lovely pictures of him and Dave, and I was a late convert to the Wardley stuff, and the reason I was a late convert was I thought it was too confusing for people whose problem was how do I set up a Scrum team. And a lot of what we did and a lot of the support we did in community practice and things were kind of introduction topics, there were intermediate topics, and then there were advanced topics. And this is really about how you set an organization up. It could be teams, but an organization. Absolutely love Simon's stuff. Been to lots of talks on it. So pleased that Simon was a patron first time round. But what I wanted to do was really explain the Wardley Doctrine, and this is the doctrine at wardleymaps.com, and it's split in quite well. And I think what I'm going to do is translate this to what we do in setting up the Access Agile ecosystem. So the
Thank you.
elements of this is that there are some phases, so we should do things in order. Yeah. So what you don't do is going to jump in to do your to organize some of the later stuff when you need to get the earlier stuff into place. And the first column we use is communication. So one thing I'd really like to in our organization is improve our communication, and again the Wardley Doctrine helps me there. So again, using a common language or challenge assumptions, allow that ability for people to speak up, psychological safety, and focus on high situational awareness and what's being considered. Okay, so these are things in the communication space that we do phase one. We also do some development and knowing our users, customers, focus on user needs, try and take our bias out of it. And try and use appropriate methods. So again, we've did a lot of that in the first February experiment, and we're doing different things in the next experiment. So I think that one of the things that we do coming forward, when we learn from what we've done here, is we do need to try and develop some more personas, customer journeys, and just trying to capture just who's coming and why, and understanding that a little bit. But last year we did a lot of that, and the festival was fairly successful, 800 events, so we did that quite well. But I think we need to remember to keep doing it every time we're thinking forward, and especially if the ecosystem adapts. The other thing is operationally think small, yeah, and use some kind of systematic mechanism for learning. And I think last time around we used Google Sheets and the Slack group. My concern at the moment is how we're going is everything's on WhatsApp, which is kind of like short-term memory, not long-term memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever tried to find something that someone said in Slack and there
Yeah.
after weeks, yeah. So anyway, establish all of that stuff. So when we come out of October, let's focus on establishing all of that stuff again, getting it in from the ground level. Okay. Second thing is be transparent with a bias to openness. Part of the reason we got the YouTube channel was last time around I was completely transparent as to the sausage factory. In fact, Scott Howard was talking to me about it and said it was quite amazing to watch as you guys navigated this. I'm very comfortable making these videos to communicate across the world. I didn't do them much in the period up to October, so I'm picking a learning point that in that phase two step this time around in October, I don't think we were that transparent. I don't think, for instance, the ambassadors know enough about what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, in the development side, focus on the outcome, not the on not and focus on what's worth developing. And we've had to do that a little bit in triaging the new website, so it's not as it's not where we want it to be. But we've just said for October the experiment, which is a small 3-day thing, what's the basic thing we need, and we've actually got that. Use
Yeah.
appropriate tools, yeah. And be pragmatic. It doesn't matter if the cat is black or white as long as it catches mice. So again, perfect's the enemy. Use
Yeah.
standards where appropriate, and I think we're going to put
Doesn't exist.
yes, I think we'll get some guardrails in there as well. And I think moving from February to October, we didn't take any guardrails across. In fact, I don't even think we copied the new principles onto the new website, the old principles on the new website. So, yeah, manage inertia, and we've got a lot of people inertia, so that's something that's been fascinating to look at. Manage failure, so and effectiveness over efficiency, and a bias towards action. So this action bias, okay, I think I got a sore throat telling everyone to be access biased, and this time around I'm seeing a thinking bias. Yeah.
Yeah.
So rather than doing
Yeah. I
something
can
and it
see that.
possibly being wrong, people are thinking about it and not doing it, or
Yeah.
people are scared to do it. It feels a bit like a disco where people are scared to go and dance, so they're all standing around the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Chatting.
yeah. So but I'm remembering last time around I really pushed this, and this time around I haven't. So move fast. An imperfect plan executed today is better than the perfect plan executed tomorrow. I believe that was General Patton. It's one I've used for years. Strategy is iterative and not linear. So yeah, let's not try and again in thinking about next February 2022. My God, where did those 2 years go? We are going to develop a strategy a little bit. Anything I say today is when we go through the reflection and improvement, but after the October, might change. Think small, as in teams. Distribute power, decision making, and think aptitude and attitude. Yeah. Again, I think because we're all over the world, I think I'm also going to add one in there, which kind of like think regional. It's far easier for a regional team
Yeah.
in the same language to work together to do things
Yeah.
than someone in Lima trying to relate to someone in Singapore when they've got no working time together, or someone in the UK trying to work with someone in Australia. So yeah, I think we need to think small teams. We need to distribute, and I think we need a much more regional focus again.
Yeah. Distribution, decentralized, small groups working together.
Yeah. And then what's quite interesting about the Wardley Doctrine is I took everyone through it this time last year before February. We used it and it worked. So this time for next February, I think is good as well. And then in phase 3, you've got your communication set up, you've got your development set up, you've picked your basic topics, and we've done a little bit about that by using Meetup here. So we're saying Meetup's going to do all the tech, so let's not worry too much about the tech. Is optimize flow, do better with less, and set up exceptional standards. So we're trying to raise them. I don't feel we're doing that just now. I'm not worried for October that we're doing that just now, but that's definitely something that come say December 2021 going into February 2022, I'd really like to get into that. I think we could automate a lot more of the things. So we've got a very manual process at the moment. I think we can automate a bit more. I think we could have less people doing things with the automation, so there's less communication burden on people, and it's all a bit more self-service. I think we're going to set exceptional standards, so we can actually maybe even start looking at how we support and mentor the speakers a bit more. I've got a little concern on the speaker front that we don't support them enough. We haven't explained enough what we're trying to do. And then what we'll do at the end is we'll say, oh, some of the speakers were mismatched. Yeah, well, that was probably our fault for not getting ahead of it. Yeah, and understanding what we wanted them to match to. I also think I haven't really done a very good job of capturing the vision and carrying the vision forward. So again, in our reflection and adapt period after October, we need to spend a bit more time on that. So bias towards the new and be curious. And I really want to shout Mao out for this. Mao's been quite amazing on the marketing side for exploring the new stuff. Katie did this last time, but I didn't realize what Katie did until Katie wasn't doing it anymore.
That's normal. Yeah.
So we need people coming in experimenting, and for people to come in and experiment, they need to feel empowered. They need to feel that what they're doing is worthwhile, and they need to feel that there isn't a death march happening. So we need to get beyond all of all of the operational stuff in place in there, and then we can start building the cherry and the icing on the cake. But we need to. So that's where we need to get to. Again, commit to direction, but be adaptive along the path. Crossing the river by feeling the stones. I did lots and lots of talks about this at the beginning. It was our big mantra. That comes from Chairman Mao. I think again Patton described it well. That when asked what his tactics were on beating Hitler, He said, it's easy. I'm going to pin him down and then I'm going to look for tactical operations. And the reporters looked a bit blank and he said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold him by the nose here and I'm going to kick his ass every time it comes around. So that's how we do it. We have a few strategic things that we're always on, but we also look for that, that opportunity. And we're also, we need to think big and inspire people. I think the think big bit isn't as big as it was last February. Yeah.
It's hard to, though, because February was so big.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
How do you follow that with bigger thoughts?
It was surprisingly big. Okay. I think personally I'd have been happier if February had been 50 things, and then this time round we were going to 80 things, and then maybe if next February it went to 100 things.
Yeah, because you're slowly moving up. Instead, you're kind of doing it backwards, but you're kind of trying to make it more sustainable for longer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the next thing is, and this is the balance that we haven't got. Strategy is complex, so embrace uncertainty. So all the way through going into February, I wasn't sure what to happen. Now going into October, I kind of said, let's use the old patterns. And I found that they don't work for different things. So I should have probably embraced uncertainty and not said use the old patterns. I should have said, let's take what is, but let's have points along the way where we review how things are happening and things. And, and again,
the patterns are good, but you need to make sure they're still viable for the current situation, right? There's always context, specificity. Exactly. I can't say that word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So OODA looping. But again, part of the reason I'm running these experiments is to understand it a bit more. The other thing is I couldn't have anticipated so many of the original leadership leaving, or being swamped, or ended up with COVID in a hospital ward, or having grief and death, or becoming the chair of the BCC or the BCS Agile committee. So everyone really grew into other things, or having babies. So I think a little bit of that documented patterns, but also really embracing the uncertainty a bit more, and listen and have fortitude here. The be humble thing. I think the fortitude thing's really important. And I think when I put the video out to ambassadors last night, it was really just to say, look, here's where we're at. I don't think we've got the listening structures in place to get the listening. So again, we need to. I don't think we're getting enough feedback. I don't think. I mean, at the website just now, is there any way to get anyone can give us feedback? If you've got proposals, is there any way to do that? Not sure.
There's a contact us email address.
Yeah, is anyone looking at it?
I have no idea.
Let's do a test.
I can check.
Let's do a test. Yeah. Okay, and then finally, listen to your ecosystem. Acts as a future sensing engine. I don't think we've got that because everything went a bit quiet. We didn't really set up a community space. The Slack group became tumbleweeds. So again, one of the puzzles that we had out there was how do we communicate as a community in between events or in between activities, or how do we some of that learning, sharing, mentoring stuff, how do we activate that? And that's not there. We didn't manage it after the February one. It's probably something that we're looking at in March. Yeah, I guess we can try and do little bits towards it, but it almost feels like after the next event, the third event, we start, we really do nail that one. Yeah. And again, everything's transient. There's no core. I was completely surprised that people wanted to do more at more events. So we're doing our second one. There's no one culture, and again, I think we need to get our settlers, town planners, pioneers in the different groups doing things. I don't think we've done that very well, and I think we need to design for constant evolution. So phase 4, I would give myself a 1 out of 10 after the festival. 1 out of 10. Lots of complex reasons for that. We could probably do a big moratorium on it. So first time around in February, I would say we nailed 1. We nailed 2, and 3 we kind of did about 70%, and 4 we really just screwed the pooch on that one. And that's why I think, because we didn't do 4, I think when we came around to go to do phase 1 again on what we were doing for October and other things that people maybe said they wanted to do, the archive and the learning archive is just tumbleweeds. So that's where we're at, and that's how I relate that to the Wardley Doctrine. I recommend anyone setting anything up, whether it be a company, a society, a community of practice, use the Wardley Doctrine. Okay, I love you, Simon. I love you, Dave, for introducing me to Simon. This really works, and as I sit here and say this, I feel I'm channeling Martin Burns. I'm sure this is something he'd have told us. So yeah.
Yeah, it feels like him.
Yeah, cool. Right, thanks for listening. I'm not sure how many people will watch this video. Well, let's try and see if we can get everyone to watch this video. But I think we can learn a lot from this. And as we go beyond October, let's go back to really go back to kind of phase one of the Wardley Doctrine and really lean into the communication first, and the reflection, the adaptation, and who we are and what we're doing. Excellent. Thank you very much. You are a wonderful person.
You too. Thanks for having me. Bye.